Previously at Bend City Council.
Hi, I'm Mayor Melanie Kebler, and this is your City Council Recap. This is a new project we're trying out to provide video recaps of what Council's been up to in our meetings for the past month. First, I want to start with saying goodbye to a couple of councilors that have left us as we transitioned to a new council this year. Councilor Segal and Councilor Mitchell, who stepped up and were appointed late last year, really provided good leadership and strong participation in council, and we really thank them for all of their efforts. We also saw Mayor Goodman Campbell move on from her role as mayor, which she also picked up last year, and so grateful for her for stepping up into that leadership position and helping us through that time period and keeping council on track with our work. So thank you to all of them, and welcome to our new council. That was our first meeting of January. We swore in the new council, and I was sworn in as mayor. And it was a really exciting and fun event. We had some music from artist Olivia Knox. We had the honor guard from the Bend Police Department, and we all enjoyed getting together and ushering in a new era for the next council. We also, at our January 4th meeting, declared a vacancy because I was elected to mayor and there were 2 years remaining on my term in position 1. We had to declare a vacancy and then move through an appointment process. So that's what we did in January with a couple more special meetings to interview applicants and then select a new councilor. So after interviewing all of the applicants, and there were many strong applicants, thank you for everyone who applied to the vacancy, we selected Megan Norris to join the council. Megan currently works on affordable housing with Hayden Homes. In the past, she's worked on solar energy projects, clean energy projects. She's worked on childcare with the Bend Chamber, and she has a really great perspective, having grown up as a mixed ethnicity Latina in our community, and we're really excited to have her. At our most recent meeting on January 18th, we officially swore her in to join us on council. At the start of every year, council initiates a goal-setting process where we work together with staff and the community to set priorities for the next 2 years. One of the key inputs into that process is a community survey. And at our meeting on January 18th, we received the results of that survey, which was done by DHM, and it highlighted to us what the key issues are for people in Bend, how people are feeling about their city government, and gave us some great inputs to take into our goal-setting process, which is going to start at the end of January. Also at our January 18th meeting, we took up the topic of parking mandates, or what are called parking minimums. These are requirements in our code that developers have to build a certain minimum number of parking spaces when they make developments. We've recently had rules adopted by the state called the Climate Friendly and Equitable Community Rules that directed cities to make reforms to policies like parking minimums. And before that, even, council had talked about looking at this policy to see if it was still too much of a barrier to some of the housing we need, and also to moving towards less vehicle use and helping us combat climate change. So at our January 18th meeting, the council discussed this item and voted 4-2 to eliminate parking mandates in our code, and also add a provision that for certain developments, if they decide not to build any parking, they still do have to build at least one spot of accessible parking for people with disabilities. This is a really big deal on some level. This has been joining many other cities across the country have made this policy change in order to use our land in a better way and help us meet our housing and climate goals. We also discussed as a council and remain committed to providing access for anybody who drives and is disabled, but also anyone who's walking or using transit. We want to continue to work on providing accessibility throughout the city. And this is just the beginning of really a lot of different policies around parking and development and streets that we're going to continue to be having in the next few years. Also, very exciting, at our last meeting, we approved the contract with Lieber Impact to operate what we are calling the Stepping Stone Shelter, which is the Division Street hotel that we purchased with Project Turnkey funds from the state. This has been a bit of a project to get the hotel ready and accessible and refurbished for guests to stay there. It was initially used very temporarily for emergency services, and then once we opened the Rainbow Hotel, the Franklin shelter, we moved guests to that shelter and then initiated some pretty intense remodeling to make sure that the Stepping Stone shelter was accessible and appropriate for everyone who was going to be staying there. A huge shout out to Neighbor Impact, our partner who is going to be running this shelter. They've done a great job and have been a great partner in helping people not just find shelter, but also move through to more permanent housing solutions. So to give you a preview of some of the next things that Council is going to be working on, we are heading into our goal setting process And part of that are some listening sessions and roundtables we're going to be engaging in. And then we're going to get together as a council for a facilitated meeting over 2 days to really nail down what we want those goals and priorities to be. Once that final product is out and drafted, we'll have community feedback on that. We will have staff looking at it and seeing how our budget can fit with our priorities and creating a work plan. So it'll be a lot of work after that to refine and make sure that those goals and priorities make sense. But that is the next big step for council, is working together to set those priorities for the next 2 years. Thanks so much for watching our first ever council recap. If you want to learn more about what we're doing as a council, you can always go to bendoregon.gov/council to find more details about our meetings, our subcommittees, and everything to do with city council. And we will see you next time.